Hi, I'm Dr. Roland Kappe, and welcome to Public Policy, Economics and Analysis. Did some of you recognize the sound you just heard? It's the closing bell of the New York Stock Exchange. Now, stock markets are examples of markets. Very peculiar, very specific types of markets. But markets more generally are institutions that are quite central to the modern world. And the interplay between markets on the one hand and the state on the other hand is something that every public policy expert needs to understand. So, as public policy students, we have to understand how markets work. And that's the focus of today's lecture. But first, let me introduce myself and my colleagues and set out some basic rules, goals, and motivations for this class.
Hello everybody, my name is Valentina Muso. I am a teaching fellow here at UCL and I will be teaching some of the seminars for this course. I am looking forward to working with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Nidhi and I'll be one of your seminar leaders for PPA this year.
Hi, my name is Thomas Gift. I'm an associate professor of political science at UCL. I'll be teaching the second half of this PPEA course. I look forward to meeting and working with all of you.
And you already know me. I'm Dr. Roland Kappe, and I'm teaching the first half of this lecture. And I'm also the seminar leader for some of you guys. So, what is public policy, economics, and analysis? And why do I need to understand economics for public policy? Well, the rationale is basically twofold. The first rationale has to do with economics as a theoretical framework. It basically provides a very clear sort of system for investigating situations in which the government may want to intervene into markets. Those are called market failures. These are basic conditions in which the market doesn't work as advertised, and that's a very powerful rationale for public policy, really, for public policy decision making. The second rationale is more instrumental, if you like, and that has to do with the role of economists and economics. Economists have been very successful at sort of capturing the market for political advice. Within public policy, the voice of economists can be heard loud and clear. So, if you want to become a public policy expert, you have to at least understand and familiarize yourself with the language of economics so that you can understand the arguments that are being put forward. And it's helpful to understand the way economists see the world. So why do we start with markets? Why the focus on markets? I promise you it's just today. The problems already start next week. So this class is not just a lot of neoliberal mumbo jumbo, okay? Many of you are maybe critical of markets, thinking about healthcare, other problems. And spoiler alert, so am I, okay? But the most powerful arguments against markets or for intervention into specific markets, or against privatization, if you want, come from economists or from those who understand how markets work and when they fail. So what are the key concepts we need to understand and be able to apply? Well, there are questions of sort of markets and efficiency, supply, demand, equilibrium, Pareto efficiency, consumer surplus. That's just today. And then we're going to be talking about externalities, public goods, perfect competition, monopoly, moral hazard, adverse selection, inequality, taxation, cost-benefit analysis, and behavioral economics. So many topics, and many of these terms may be unfamiliar. And that's good, because that's what we're here to teach. So what's the goal for the class? What are the outcomes I want you to take away? Well, I want you to understand the type of language, economic language that is being used, but I also want you to be able to clearly identify different types of market failures that are quite common, specifically externalities, imperfect information, and sort of failures of competition. And I want you to be able to propose solutions, okay? Just diagnosing the problems is not enough. We can think about sort of public policy solutions for these problems, and some of these solutions grow out of a clear understanding for how the problem works from an economic perspective. So in sum, I think PPEA, as we'll be referring to this class from now on, is basically one part language class. Understand, how economists talk, how economists describe theoretical problems. Then one part core economic ideas that some of you may or may not be familiar with, and one part practical solutions to common problems that you will encounter in your career in public policy. Okay, so what do you need to do and what do you need to learn to get there? Well, you've already made it because you're watching this video. So you found the Moodle page and you started watching the lecture video. So that's the most important thing. The Moodle page in general is the core, sort of the hub for everything. Okay, this is where the lecture materials are. This is where the readings are. This is the way we get in contact with you. So we'll use Moodle announcements which come to your email, and any kind of additional activities, etc., will be posted here. It's also where the readings are, and the readings are based on one core sort of textbook and then some additional reading. The core textbook is Joe Stiglitz's Economics of the Public Sector, and you may have seen that there's access to this via the library, but the more entrepreneurial types will have also noticed that if you type Stiglitz Economics of the Public Sector PDF into Google, you may or may not find a version that is perhaps legal or not available online. I'm not recommending doing anything illegal, of course, but sometimes searching for things helps. Stiglitz, obviously a Nobel Prize winner, a very big economist. Follow him on Twitter if you want, or check out what else he has done. Big, critic of globalization. The second, and we will read many chapters from this textbook, and it is an excellent sort of reference material also for the future. If you find yourself in a public policy job many years from now, and you're confronted with externalities, I think this is a good place to look it up. The other textbook that we're introducing this year a little bit is the Economy, Society and Public Policy textbook by the Core Econ team. Now, Core Econ team is here at UCL Economics Department, and it's a group of people who have decided to revolutionize, if you want, economics teaching, to say, like, look, we start with all these problems that in this class, for example, we'll be familiar with already: public policy issues, market failures. We start with these kinds of problems and introduce economics as if the last crisis happened. Okay, so this sort of was the slogan. Okay, and it's an excellent sort of product that has been produced. Public good, free for all. And there's two textbooks. The one we use, Economy, Society and Public Policy, which is for people like you, public policy experts, people who are not core sort of economics students. And there's also The Economy, which is the sort of undergraduate economics textbook. Both are excellent resources, and I very much recommend you have a look. Maybe also beyond the required or recommended chapters. These are excellent resources to sort of get a really good understanding of economics. There are going to be other readings on Moodle, and you'll see these depending on the week. This week, I think you guys read Hayek on sort of prices, and there's going to be other readings. If you want additional sort of help, and both the Stiglitz book and the Economy, Society and Public Policy book are not enough, and you want a more mathematical foundation, for example, or you want some worked examples, then the Core Econ, the Economy textbook, will help in many cases. So have a look around in that book if you want. The other resource I can warmly recommend is Khan Academy. So some of you may have heard this for mathematics, but the sort of microeconomics sequence in Khan Academy is really, really nice as well, with nicely worked examples, numerical examples for many of the problems we'll encounter. We won't do any math basically, because it is sort of a high-level abstract version of sort of core economic concepts that we encounter here, but it can be quite helpful to actually understand the underlying math. So another recommendation. Beyond the lecture videos, the slides, the readings, additional readings, etc. Friday seminars are really important. This is the opportunity for you to engage with me and my colleagues. So we'll have exercises, we'll have a Q&A option, of course, because this lecture, of course, is very non-interactive. You can't shout at me while I'm talking. I can't ask you for examples, and it's all a bit different this year. But so the seminars are especially important this year. So please make sure you attend, and please make sure you participate actively, both in the seminar and in any kind of homework activities that we may give you. Online learning is much more difficult than in person, because a lot of the sort of context get lost. So you have to be even more proactive and even more engaged than normal. But if you follow the videos, you work through the reading materials, I can guarantee you that you will walk away from this class with a much, much better understanding of sort of economics and public policy. Shall we get started then? Today's topic is markets and efficiency. And basically what we'll be looking at is markets as sort of this stylized, idealized version of exchange, frictionless if you want. Perfect competition, everyone is a price taker, everything works beautifully, and then certain conditions hold or certain results hold, namely efficient allocation of resources. But next week we will then dive into the problems. And this is where it gets interesting, I think. So the first week, if you want, is a benchmark. It's an unattainable ideal type that like economists use as a thought experiment, if you want. And the problems for public policy experts start next week. So we will be talking about public goods, about externalities, about market power, competition issues, and about information asymmetry, principal agent problems. And that's basically the first 5 weeks of the lecture. And after reading week, Thomas Gift takes over and talks about inequality, taxation, trade, behavioral economics, and he's also going to force you through cost-benefit analysis. Okay, but let's get started. So today's topic, market, supply, demand, results in terms of efficiency, is basically material that an undergraduate economics textbook will spend a few chapters and a few weeks on, and we will do this in 30 minutes or so. So please buckle up and let's get ready.